schedule, and they just haven't played anybody.
I agree. I'm kind of agreeing with you. I know that they played Penn State finally.
No, Penn State's nobody.
No, but who's Penn State really beat? West Virginia? Who cares? No,
Yeah, that Maryland win isn't looking so impressive anymore.
no. Big Ten stinks. Can we just say that on the front end? There's nothing good about the Big Ten.
They like
Actually,
barely beat Indiana. I mean, I guess that 63-0 win over Mass was really impressive for Penn
thank,
State.
thank God. Whew. If you don't beat Mass by 63 points, you don't play Division One football. You don't play Power Five football. Yeah, there was
They
a
let
lot.
Delaware score a touchdown on them. That's pretty shameful.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know if you got any reads on that game, Danny. I know we were looking at stats a second ago, but I know there's a lot of funny stats from it.
I mean, there's a lot of really great stats for that game. My favorite thing about that game was just like, okay, Harbaugh's not allowed to coach. The guy that comes in was like, you know what? We're not passing the ball. No risks taken this entire game. We're just going to run the ball the whole game. What was the number? It was like 44 carries for 230 yards or something.
JJ McCarthy
Yeah,
really lit it up, though. He was chef's kiss spectacular, right?
yeah. I mean, he threw for 60 yards on 8 attempts. He was awesome. Uh, Compared to Penn State, who's clearly nobody because they threw for 70 yards on 22 attempts.
3.2 yards an attempt is not good. I'm not a mathematician, but I think that's bad. I don't think that's very good.
No, no, man, that is a poor showing. That Michigan defense is good even when they don't know what play is going to be called.
Big news though on that front, they allowed their first in goal of the season. So Michigan showing some weakness on defense. It took them 11 games or 10 games, but they allowed
I
their
think that
first.
didn't happen until the fourth quarter. Also,
Yeah, it took a long time. That Michigan defense is the truth. Like we can make all the jokes we want. Michigan is scary good. Scary good.
yeah, I think that like if you haven't played anybody, quote unquote, haven't played anybody, but you're beating everybody in a Power Five conference by 40 points, we can all just kind of assume you're good.
I think like what's the next step up? Playing the Carolina Panthers. Like I don't know where else they can go in order to play someone that's
The
competitive.
Canadian Football League,
Ooh. The Alouettes are having a hell of a year. They
the
they go win the,
Argonauts.
they go win the national championship and the Grey Cup in the same year. Now that is some unprecedented shit. That
Oh,
you're gonna get a raise for that.
getting the trophies, man. You got to stack trophies like soccer.
Um, the one of the biggest takeaways I had from the game was Sharon Moore, the interim head coach that was taking over for Harbaugh here. Um,
All
I
right.
don't know if you saw
Before we
the
get to that, my biggest takeaway from this, and I just want to say this and then can forget it. There are other schools out there that if we got caught doing the same thing they did, our coach would have been suspended for more than just game days. We would have gotten a stiffer punishment than just I can't coach for a couple of games, but I could still be for all the practices.
So, what do you think would have happened if it was Wisconsin, right? A pretty good team, but a team that's not in a national title hunt. Do you think that you think the penalty would be much worse, right? Even in the
Yes.
same conference.
Yes, but I think that if it was like Florida State even, but like a Miami or it happened to SMU, there's other schools out there that have had huge punishments. That if even if we were competing for a title, they would have taken everything from us.
Yeah, that crazy vacuum salesman is really, really messing up everything at Michigan. What was Connor Stallions doing like as a hobby? He was like disassembling and fixing vacuums on Amazon. I didn't get the full.
He had like an eBay store. He had like an eBay store where he bought and sold vacuums, and he was supposedly restoring them, but according to the reviews, not doing such a good job restoring them. That was a really funny bit on the Levitard show.
He also had a 400-page manifesto on how he would become a legend at the University of Michigan. He sounds like a dangerous person. Not the kind. I mean, his goatee aside is dangerous, but his whole like persona is not something you want around a bunch of college kids.
I was unaware of the Michigan Mein Kampf. I didn't know that he did that.
He really did write a manifesto as far as every
Oh,
step he
wow.
would do in order to turn Michigan into a perennial power till 2100. I think it was like the idea there. Dangerous human being. I do want to talk about Sharon Moore really quick because I just thought I want to call this a new segment called Try Hard of the Week. Sharon Moore, congratulations. You're the first winner of Try Hard of the Week. Look, dude, I get it. You won a game and you were having a great time, but you started crying on national television, being like, I gotta, I fucking love you, man. Like, hey, you're on Fox. You get to say I fucking love you. You need a pod,
I mean, NBC, you can't say I fucking love you, man. I feel like Fox will let it go.
regular Fox at noon on Saturday or 3 p.m.
Yeah. Fox is like the network where The Simpsons was on, right? And Married with Children. It's the one our parents wouldn't let us watch
That's
growing up.
that's true. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons. Now thinking back at it, now The Simpsons are just like a PG show compared to like Family Guy or any other
Oh
show
yeah,
out there. Um,
yeah. They gotta really put some shit out there for us to tell our kids they can't watch it.
yeah. Simpsons. That's the same thing as Bluey. Um,
It's educational. Might as well be Daniel Tiger.
um, but him just crying, like you're trying too hard, dude. I get it. You get a win. This is great. You're on a national championship home, but I don't believe you for a second. I don't believe you for 1 second. I think you were trying to sell an agenda to the national media. You're a hell of an actor. I'm
Yeah, I
not
wish
buying it.
the quarterbacks that had the LOL battle both tweeted at him with a picture of it with the
Oh
LOL.
God, if Caleb Williams and Maximum Duggan,
Yeah, Duggan's again.
I would die. Um, I want to talk about what everything that happened in college football and all the craziness that happened and how it relates to Penn State's James Franklin. But before we do that, that's Danny. I'm Matt. Welcome to Chuggy Bets. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm staying sober tonight, unfortunately. It's not the same. Shit doesn't hit the same.
I'll drink for both of us.
Please, thank you, buddy.
I got so many leftovers from the birthday party.
So let's recap last week. Not a banner week for anyone but Al. Al was 3 games over. I was at 500. Collectively, we were 4 games under for the week. That puts us at 2 games over for the season. You're not going to be buying any private islands that way, but we are having fun and tipping the dealer on the way out. So there was a lot of shakeup, and this is getting into college football silly season. For anyone who's not a big college football fan, the games happen from September to November, and it go into December as far as bowl seasons. But November is when things really heat up, and that's what makes it very weird because coaches start getting fired. You got the transfer portal, you got NIL deals, you got people trying to steal each other, steal recruits and steal coaches. It gets to madness, and this is where it's the most fun and the dumbest because we're no longer talking about the game on the field. We're talking about the people who wear the headsets. And I know Danny's not a big fan of that, but I love it. I love it. But we do need to do some compliment sandwiches to some of the coaches that will be leaving us. I'm going to start off. I'm going to just do Zach Arnett really quick. Zach Arnett, you were a good defensive coordinator under Mike Leach, and you were the interim holding the bag and trying to keep the Mississippi State program. And I think that's admirable. You were a very bad head coach. You had an air raid system in place, and then you started trying to do like running with the big boys and trying to really pound it in the SEC at Mississippi State. Why Mike Leach was successful because his offense was weird. And Starkville is a cool place. So Zach Arnett, to you, buddy. Cheers. There was a bunch of other coaches. We can try to do some sandwiches. Andy Avalos at Boise State was let go.
I'll take a stab at Andy.
You want to go? Go for it.
I got his Wikipedia page pulled up here.
I'd love to see it.
All right, so Andy Avalos, you are a millennial, so that's good. We like millennials around here.
We do.
He's an elder millennial, but 1981, so that's a compliment. You were not a very good coach at Boise State. You were a pretty good coach at Boise State. Why the hell did you get fired? You were 22-14 at Boise State.
I think expectations are a little higher at Boise than they are at other places because of the past record. Doesn't mean it's accurate, right? He could be a good coach and coach a good team, but he may not be a good leader of a program according to the expectations.
He was 10-4 last year, 8-1 in the conference. He just had one down year, and they're like, peace.
Welcome to Boise. I'll add that in there. That's the shit. That's the shit part of the sandwich. Boise's the shit part.
Yeah, you'll get a better job. The Boise sucks. Boise sucks. You'll get a better job. You don't have to play on the blue field anymore. Your next head coaching gig. That's the last piece of bread.
Yeah, congratulations. Hey, to Andy Avalos.
And to Andy Avalos.
Brady Hoke was retiring at the end of the season. Honest to God, I kind of forgot Brady Hoke was in college football. So that's cool. Mike Yurkich was canned as Penn State offensive coordinator. Danny gave you the 70 yards of reason, 210 feet of reason why he's not allowed back at Penn State when your passing game looks like that, even if it's Michigan or not. You can't average 3.1 yards an attempt. Your offense was clearly not doing it. But the biggest news of the day was Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher, who was stolen overnight in a fleecing of Florida State in 2017, has been let go from Texas A&M. The financial impact of this decision is astronomical. The Sexton, his agent, who's like a notoriously good college football head coach agent, I think he represents like 75% of them. He gets 100% of his buyout of the remaining contract. So that's $72 million. Danny, do you have the distribution of when that gets paid out pulled up?
I don't have it pulled up right now, but I from memory, I believe it was like 42 million in 60 days, and then 7 million a year until 2031.
Woo! Your boy's getting paid. And there's no clawback clause. So if he starts coaching somewhere else, he
He
can
still
get
gets the money.
that money and that money. He's going to be the richest coach in college football for like the next 10 years because he's going to be getting double paid. And if you want Jimbo Fisher, like his name does carry a little bit of weight.
So just I know this isn't part of your compliment sandwich, but just since like 2022, uh, Group of Five and Power Five programs have paid $150 million to coaches to not coach football games. And I think that maybe we should stop using it's too expensive to pay players to play football games when we're spending that much money to pay coaches not to coach football games.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I will say that his record was 45 and 25, 64% of the games he coached, he won. Not a great number, but a very challenging side of the SEC. So I'm not surprised with anything here. I do want to talk about this a little bit more, but let's
His
get
his
into.
SEC record was a little below 500, wasn't it?
Let me see if I can pull it up.
I'll look that up while you talk, bud.
Let's do the compliment sandwich to send Jimbo Fisher out. Um, I'm trying to think of a good thing. Jimbo Fisher, you did win a national championship at Florida State. So you're in a prestigious group. There's not many national championship winners out there. Your time at Texas A&M was a disaster. What you left at Florida State was a disaster. You're a disaster of a human being who will be rich and keep being rich because of your ability to be a turncoat. And congratulations on Texas A&M for being really rich. Super cool to have that much money. So to Jimbo Fisher, fuck
To
him.
Jimbo Fisher, who was 27 and 21 in the SEC, but that was kind of inflated by that 8-1 COVID season.
That COVID season was a weird one. I mean,
Yeah,
counts. The
if you
games
take
count.
that, it counts. But if you take that one out, he would have been 19 and 20.
Yeah. So a lot to take away from here. While I don't think of Texas A&M being a signature job, right? It's not Georgia. It's not USC. It's not Ohio State. There's Texas. There's some jobs up there when they come available, everyone comes running. There will be a lot of candidates for this position because they clearly have the administration and the boosters at Texas A&M have enough money to get rid of just flippantly throw 72 million out the window, right? With that being said, they're not going to
I
be
don't
doing
understand why they didn't buy Alabama's offensive line then.
seriously, man, we could talk about the Florida State Miami game. That freaking center, holy hell, the kid from UCF is tremendous. But um, the whole fallout is you're going to see college football's landscape change pretty dramatically because of this. Now, the coaches that are considered or on the early nomination list for to fill the role is Dan Lanning, who's the head coach at Oregon, Mike Norvell, who's the head coach at Florida State. You got Lance Leipold, who's the coach at Kansas, who's been awesome. You got Kansas State's coach, Chris Kleiman, who's been awesome. And there's various other people.
Let me ask you a question, Mato.
Yeah.
why do they only care about who's playing well this season when they're looking at college football coaches? Like Mike Norvell never would have been considered for this coaching job. What, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, he definitely wouldn't have been
They
considered
were
it.
look. He was going to get fired from Florida State, and like Memphis wouldn't even have wanted them back. He was nothing, and then like he turned it around, and now he's like, oh, now everybody, Mike Norvell needs a huge raise, and everybody wants him to as their coach. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like look at look at a body of work.
Yeah, but that's even more impressive. If you want to use Mike Norvell as a comparison, what do you got left with from Willie Taggart is bad. COVID hits and you can't meet the kids and the coaches and people in the state of Florida and make those connections. It's really hard to get players, right? And that's where everyone's criticized Norvell's use of the transfer portal. But it's been the saving grace of Florida State. Now their recruiting class looks great, right? It's a matter of building a program. But what we had on the roster at Florida State was terrible. I do think he's a good program builder. I don't think he'll ever be an exceptional recruiter, like ever. That's just not his MO. He's a good X's and O's guy where there's other coaches. College football is really built on Jimmy and Joe's guys, primarily.
Yeah, to an extent. I think that he got pushed into a school that, while it has name brand value, it is not the easiest recruiting sell to get people to go to Tallahassee.
They go
um,
to Tuscaloosa. They go to a small, if you're saying like from
all right.
geography,
Well, Florida State isn't dropping the same bags that Alabama is. All right.
no, probably not. I think our NIL is probably like eighth best. I mean, still pretty competitive, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. Well, I think the illegal bags, we were both schools kind of handcuffed because we had a little more scrutiny on us, and I think that in the ACC they really wanted us to do things the right way and everything. And I know in the SEC everybody was looking the other way, and there's a
yeah,
reason all those players were going there. But yeah, so he came in the COVID situation to Florida State, and like, yeah, he had a bad first year.
yeah,
His first season during COVID was bad. It was very bad. His second season also rough.
not
Jordan
good,
Travis also couldn't hit the broadside of a barn that season.
not good.
Yeah, every throw went over everybody's head. And then suddenly Jordan Travis starts throwing accurately, and everybody thinks Mark Norvell's a really good coach. Maybe quarterbacks just need a couple of years to get good sometimes, and he was willing to wait him out instead of firing Travis. Maybe that was his big thing he brought to the program. He was patient.
Yeah,
And nobody at Texas A&M is going to sit there and be like, "Oh, we're going to be patient with our next coach and our
no,
next quarterback."
you're right. That's a really good point, right? When you're dropping those kind of bags on coaches, your expectations are accelerated tremendously, right? We're only 2 years off from Texas A&M. Now, I'm going to use air quotes on this, getting the best recruiting class ever. They had hit like number ones and blue chips at an astronomically high rate. And that comes with money. But you still need to be a decent coach, right? Like the Jimmies and Joes can get you places. And you have to make sure these Jimmies and Joes are actually Jimmies and Joes. Like they're really blue chips and they're not just, you're not doing you got to do your due diligence with the actual players in person, make sure that their measurables are right and blah, blah, blah. But
I think the bigger
I think
thing
the
on that is
game's past to go by.
they have to be more than big, strong, and fast. Miami made that huge mistake after 2002 when
Mhm.
Coker was heading up our recruiting. We only got big, strong, and fast guys, and we didn't have enough football players.
Yeah, Willie Williams, still the greatest friggin' linebacker I've ever seen. And him not to make a dent on University of Miami is crazy to me. I'll
Yeah,
never forget Willie Williams. It's
and
just a
you have to have
amazing.
people that like are team oriented. I mean, football's like it's a hard sport, man, and to like excel at it, you got to be really committed. So
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about who you'd want to see as the head coach at Texas A&M? I got a couple that would make me giggle.
Jeff Fisher, that's who I want.
Jeff Fisher. Oh, that is hilarious. Actually, you're going 6, maybe 7-5, maybe sometimes, but 6-6 for sure.
Hmm.
I've seen Dan Campbell's name get floated, which is the dumbest option because he's killing it as the Detroit Lions head coach. I
Yeah, why
know
would he Detroit? That's like perfect for him. He played
he's
tight end there for a little while, didn't he?
yeah, he was also like a very proud booster of Texas A&M, but I
Oh, he
don't.
was? Okay.
I'm gonna stay in the NFL. I have a team that's 7-3, and they look like a Super Bowl contender, and it's in Detroit
I'll,
where
I'll
there's
tell you
never
what. If I'm
been.
Mike McDaniel right now, and Texas A&M comes calling with one of these huge fucking contracts, like with a $80 million buyout that lasts the rest of my life, I may consider it.
You think Mike McDaniel would, huh? That's
I'm
interesting.
just saying, if I like, he is obviously already excelling at the highest level, so he may not. There's a lot of ego that comes with getting one of those jobs, and he worked really hard to get one. But
Mhm.
I'm just saying it's something that I might consider if I were in his scenario, because there's a certain amount. I mean, NFL coaching jobs don't pay as well as college coaching jobs.
No, but they're a lot harder work. I know that you hear about the NFL guy who sits in the locker room from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. They don't have to recruit kids and always keep in contact with kids and stuff like
It's
that.
all
And
football.
yeah, it's
It's
all
all football work. Yeah, it's all football work for the NFL. It's different.
like you have GMs handling a lot of the player acquisition and like the talent
They have to
recruiting.
scout. They have to scout still. Not as much. They have a whole department that does that for them, right?
Yeah.
But they still have to like make final decisions, or at least help assist with final decisions on what kind of players they want and stuff. But yeah, it's not the same as like going on the road and going to people's houses trying to convince them
Yeah,
to come to your school.
they will dial for dollars. Um, how about Deion Sanders? Do you think Deion Sanders would be funny at Texas A&M? I think it would be hilarious
That
because
that actually is the dream scenario, but that is the best. That is the best scenario. Just all the money in the world, give to Dion, let him see if he can do it at the biggest on the biggest stage. I can't think of a better option. I mean, Lane Kiffin's name's going to be thrown around.
oh, that's
I like
hilarious.
I
That's
like Lane
hilarious.
right where he is, though. I think he's kind of. I love him at an SEC school that I don't care about, so I can kind of root for him. Right? It's also like I liked the last time I liked that school was when Eli's brother, or yeah, Eli played there, Peyton's brother.
Mhm. Yeah,
So that's like a good spot for him. He can kind of be crazy and stay crazy there. I feel like A&M comes with different kind of expectation.
responsibilities.
Yeah,
I
responsibilities.
think he would be very bad at A&M, but I think it would be hilarious. I'm going to play a little roundabout math here. What I want to happen is Gus Malzahn, Arkansas fires Sam Pittman. I think that's going to be coming any day now. I want Gus Malzahn to go back home to Arkansas, and I want Lane Kiffin to try to build his roots in Florida at UCF. I think it would be terrible for us as Florida State Miami fans because he's going to do really well there. Um, I just think it would be a fun job. It's kind of counterculture. I think it would fit his personality really well, and he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, I think he had that at FAU, but I think the program was just a little too far behind where he wanted to be. And you saw what he built there. It was like a team that was winning their conference.
Yeah,
It was a good team. They were putting out NFL players. So I think he could at a school like UCF, who's now in a major conference. He could very well make that happen there. And that yeah that
I want that. I would like that very much because his offense is perfect for the Big 12, especially Sans, Texas, and Oklahoma. He'll kill that shit.
yeah yeah absolutely.
Um, I think that would be the most hilarious ones. Bill Belichick makes me laugh too, but that's just how it's so far gone. We'll talk about the NFL pod, but Bill Belichick's getting around, huh? You see this? His dirty work, him stepping out of an apartment in South. He's shirtless at 6 in the morning, which
I did
wasn't
not
his.
see that.
Whoa, we'll talk about it more in the NFL. It's delightful. It's dirty, dirty, dirty. Bill Belichick. Um, yeah, so I'm just interested to see what the fallout is and see what coaches go where. One final note: if Texas A&M is going to go after like a Norvell or a Lanning, Dan Lanning at Oregon, it's interesting about the short term versus the long term focus. They probably want to name a coach sooner rather than later, and I think they fired him after a win in order to get a jump on the market and make sure they get the first opportunities. Them and Michigan State have the first opportunities to choose coaches and try to get some normalcy before early signing period is here in the middle of December. There's a chance Lanning and Norvell may not be available before then. So if they are thinking for the long term and they're willing to say, oh, screw this recruiting class and watch 20 guys hit the transfer portal and we'll figure it out in the next couple of years. And if they have that patience, which I have never seen from Texas A&M, they may be able to get those guys. Or they're going to have to go after something that's more ready-made, right? Chris Kleiman at Kansas State's a great coach. Love him. He's up there with Uncle Kyle as far as being an awesome coach. So I think it's something to monitor here. If you don't hear anything coming in the next 3 weeks, I think you may see a bigger fish on the hook than you were originally expecting in order to save early signing period.
I have a feeling A&M is gonna pull somebody from the NFL.
You think so?
I do.
I'd rather coach in the NFL all day. It's
I
such an easier job. I know it's a lot of work, but
I think they're both, obsessive jobs where you work 20-hour days, but I just have this feeling that that's the route A&M's going to take, and they're not going to just go do the thing they did with Jimbo and take the most successful college coach that will accept their money.
yeah. I mean, it's a crazy time, right? We saw a Notre Dame coach leave Notre Dame to go to LSU, and we saw a coach leave Oklahoma to go to USC, right? These are all four of those are signature programs. So I
Yeah.
don't know how this is going to play out, but Brian Kelly going from Notre Dame, which seems like a dream scenario to LSU. Oh, one more funny one. Urban Meyer. Do you see Urban Meyer at Texas A&M?
I don't. I don't. I think he would need a comeback tour first, but
He puts out a book.
I mean, if they need to save money after this after this Jimbo buyout, Urban would come cheap right now.
He probably would, but I do think Texas A&M is going to drop a bag that is like 15 million. Saban makes 11.6. I think they're going to blow that out of the water, and you're going to see a lot of people coming for $15 million and the eternal buyout.
I think Texas A&M has like the biggest endowment of any college, including like the Ivy League.
I know that oil is good. It's good to get that Texas tea. We've been in 26 minutes here. Let's make some weekday picks. What do you say, buddy?
Did you want to update the bad team draft first?
No, we'll save that for the next one.
Okay.
I'll make sure to pass those notes along. Cool. So got a lot of action this week, Dano. Love action on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Question for you. Do you hate when other conferences play on Tuesday and Wednesday? And
No,
you
I
wish
just call it Maction anyway.
Conference USA is Maction?
Yep.
Louisiana Lafayette in the Mid-American Conference. No, I like that. That shit's great. I'm going to take us Tuesday at 7 p.m. I see Western Michigan is going to Northern Illinois. 55 is the number I was looking at, and it feels like too many. It feels like a touchdown too many. I will be taking under 55 in Western Michigan, Northern Illinois. Akron. Sorry, you got something?
Oh no, I just think directional Michigan teams are terrible, so I think that's a good choice. I don't think they can score points. So
let's go Akron, Eastern Michigan. Danny, I will let you explain your side first, and I will try to figure out what Andy's doing.
I think I already explained my side. The directional Michigan teams are bad.
So you are taking 4 points with Akron.
Yeah, I got 4 with Akron. That's really it. I don't have like a lot of positional X's and O's analysis for this one.
I'd be lying if I said I did. Andy is going to lay the 3.5 at home. To Danny's point, with Eastern Michigan, sorry. To Danny's point, if this game was on a neutral, it'd be almost a coin flip. So Danny does bring up a good point that directional Michigan's. Well, Akron has been very bad. Directional Michigan may be equally as bad. So
they're both kind of bad.
That takes us through the Tuesday slate. We got nothing on Toledo and Bowling Green State. On Wednesday, Danny and I are going head-to-head in Buffalo, Miami of Ohio. Dano, what are you doing here?
So this total is super low. It's about 40, and I like if I can get around 10 points in a total that low, I'm going to take it a lot of the time. So I'm going Buffalo +9.
Yep, I get that, but Miami of Ohio is a lot better, and they've been playing better. I like them here a lot. I think they are in the – let me pull up the standings really quick. Let's pull up our MAC standings and see where we see for the MAC championship. This is an exciting podcast. Miami of Ohio is 5-1 in conference. This win will put them into the MAC title game to face Toledo. So I think this game is going to matter, and I think they're going to want to do with some style. So lay the 9.5 with Miami of Ohio, in my opinion.
Okay.
Thursday night, we got some ACC action. Danny, I'd love to get your read on this as an ACC guy. Boston College going into Pitt. Pitt has been very bad this year. Very bad. Boston College has been surprisingly good this year.
Boston College has been, I would describe as up and down.
Up and down, but they're bowl eligible already, right? 6 wins is pretty good. I mean, I didn't think they would have 6 wins on the season. For them to be sitting at 6-4 is.
I don't have it off the top of my on the tip of my tongue, but they have a stinker of a loss on there.
Oh, I think it's Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Boston College is sitting at 6-4, 3-3 in conference. Pitt is 1-5 in conference and 2-8 overall. when you see lines like that and Pitt's the favorite,
They also just lost to Virginia Tech 48-22, so
yeah, Virginia
that's
Tech.
recent. They only barely beat Army. Like Boston College, that's what I mean by up and down. Yeah, okay, they beat Georgia Tech, who's beat some very very good ACC teams, right?
Yep.
You know, Boston College they have a lot of wins.
So Andy is laying the 2.5 with Pitt. I have a hard time thinking this is a game on a neutral site. I do think there's some weird betting games this week. Washington, Oregon State is a really weird one also. This one looks weird, but if I had to do it, I don't understand why Pitt's the favorite. I'd probably lay it the 2.5, and that's what Andy's doing.
So in games like this, I lean towards I would lean towards Boston College on the money line. You get like a short plus money.
I think that's the only way to do it. I wouldn't take the points with Boston College.
I avoid this one because you're laying with Pitt, because I actually think Pitt's due for a win in the ACCing of things, of like a team with very few wins beating a team with more wins. It's just kind of the ACC even tends to even out. Bad teams go to the average and good teams go to the average, and everybody ends up just, we only hire Jeff Fishers in the ACC, I guess.
We're the kings of the Jeff Fishers. Duke, North Carolina, the other day, who could not lose? Not who could win this game, who could not lose and go for overtime.
Exactly.
And then Friday night, we're going to end at a game at 10:30 between the two worst teams in the Pac-12, which is crazy to think about when you say Washington State, who started 4-0. Really exciting stuff, have lost their last 6. And you got Colorado coming into town, 1-6 in conference, 4-6 overall. Not a really good game here at all. Andy is laying the 4.5 with Washington State. Probably is the right side. I don't know what else to say about it.
I mean, Colorado has a win more recently, I think. Neither of these teams have won that often, but I think that Arizona State one was more recent.
Yeah. So Andy's laying the 4.5 there with Washington State. That takes us through the weekday. So follow up with us. Next podcast coming up, we're going to go through all the Saturday slate. There's some really interesting games on there. I wouldn't say that they're amazing, but they're really interesting, and we'll have some really good analysis here. We'll go into the bad team draft, do some other fun things as well. Danny, anything you want to add before we head out?
No, I'm good. Chelsea, the best draw of the weekend.
It was a great draw. It was a great draw. All right. For Danny, I'm Matt. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell your mom, tell any random smut you know, and make sure everyone knows about how you should be making money with Chuggy Bets. Good night, Joey.
Good night, Kent.